New study shows police 4 times more likely to stop trans people for reasonable suspicion. The California Attorney General's office recently issued a draft report that drew data from 58 of the state's largest law enforcement agencies. The data shows that nearly half, 44%, of all stops made by police of transgender individuals were based on reasonable suspicion alone. Cisgender women were stopped for reasonable suspicion less than 9% of the time, and cisgender men were stopped for that reason 11% of the time. Alex Binsfeld, legal director at the San Francisco-based Transgender, Gender Variant, and Intersex Justice Project, told the San Francisco Chronicle, quote, "It's in effect a way to enforce Western gender binary norms on appearance, that you will be punished if you are not gender binary in your appearance. Policing of trans folks at these disparate rates has led advocates to argue it's a status crime," end quote. These statistics are a large part of why so many members of the transgender community feel unsafe with police presence at Pride events.
I'm sad to say that our reporting tonight is the first time that I've made an actual connection, perhaps not legitimate on my part, but the first time that I've made a real connection of a very tangible argument of the harm of police at Pride and major LGBT events. I had never considered that before, that there's actual fear of the trans community coming to a Pride event because there is such a dramatic police presence.
And you know, those numbers are so far away from the mean, so far off and so skewed. You can't
9% to 44%.
Right.
It's dramatic.
You can't say this is a statistical anomaly, like 9 to 12%. You know what I mean? It just is. And the thing is, suspicious activity or reasonable suspicion, that's like the word uncomfortable. It is. It's the bigoted catch-all for law enforcement officers that are bigoted.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I'm really curious about with this story, too, is just how many people are at the intersection of being a trans person or non-binary person and also a person of color. Right, that is, because if we think about what the crime of driving while black, right?
Well, and back in 2016, they did a study, and that was what had came out, that people of color were being targeted in that aspect. Right. Now, I get it. I'm a light Latina. I am passable if I don't open my mouth, right? But I have gotten pulled over with people of color in my car, with drag queens in my car, with women of living the transgender experience, and it has not been a pretty sight. And it has taken like an hour, out on the side of the road of 95 where we're treated like absolute crap.
Because that would never happen in 100 years to me.
No.
Ever in 100 years. That is so shocking.
And can I point out that right now, it's a different story, but it's tied in. Ron DeSantis is saying a 1947 Supreme Court ruling says anybody dressed in, like men dressed as women, is illegal and they can be arrested. So just being in drag or being trans and being true to yourself, that would literally be more than reasonable suspicion if DeSantis has his way.
Well, and that's the time machine that he loves. We're going back to before Stonewall with the, we have certain articles of clothing of your gender. Really, we're really going to go back to that. That's truly horrifying.
The arbitrariness of this. I mean, we all know. I mean, what does of your gender mean? Like,
at the end of the day, it allows us that are enforcing this in terms of random stops, traffic stops, etc. It's allowing us to exhibit our homophobia, and that includes the trans community. It allows us to represent our anti-LGBT feelings in a legal way, and that's the distressing nature of this story.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.